That was the whispered verdict from a veteran court reporter as she watched Kensington Palace's private driveway remain stubbornly gate-shut the very morning Montecito's emissaries slipped into London. And that single image, vacant seats where William, Catherine, and their senior aide should have been, now threatens to rewrite the entire narrative of royal reconciliation. It began on a glittering Sunday, when the Prince and Princess of Wales sashayed into Centre Court as if trouble were a foreign language best left untranslated. Catherine wore verdant Wimbledon green, William delivered that shy sideways grin he reserves for raucous crowds, and Britain exhaled a collective sigh of normalcy. Jannik Sinner stunned Carlos Alcaraz, Catherine handed out sterling silver with a practiced curtsy, and the future king and queen disappeared into a July evening scented with strawberries and Pimm's. 48 hours later, the normalcy shattered. At precisely 10:37 a.m. on Tuesday, pen clicks echoed through the wood-panelled foyer of the Royal Overseas League, just 300 paces from Clarence House. In walked Tobin Andrew, King Charles's communications supremo, flanked by 2 protection officers. 7 minutes later, Harry and Meghan's top PR duo arrived, escorted by a discreet Metropolitan Police detail. Hotel staff drew curtains, mobile phones were surrendered, a silver teapot steamed. By the time the door sealed, a dozen reporters had clocked the guest list, and noted exactly who was missing. The Waleses had not been invited. No Kensington Palace press secretary. No advance briefing. No placeholder in Charles's engagement grid. For veteran chroniclers of Windsor intrigue, the snub rang louder than bells of St. Paul's. If the king hoped to coax his spare back into the fold, he was apparently prepared to do it without the blessing or presence of his heir. Silence as a statement. Sources inside Kensington say the omission was greeted not with fury, but with a kind of resigned frost. They were blindsided, reports a household insider. But honestly, they didn't care to attend. William won't lend credibility to a sideshow, Catherine physically cannot shoulder extra strain. Indeed, palace physicians remain fiercely protective of the princess's post-chemotherapy stamina. A 90-minute spin cycle of family diplomacy? Not on this month's prescription. Yet there's more than health at play. Friends describe William as a man who measures loyalty in millimeters, then files the ruler away for life. When Spare alleged that he grabbed Harry by the collar, ripping his necklace and forced Meghan to the point of tears, the future king's trust crashed like porcelain on a marble floor. Once broken, it sits in shards, says one confidant. You can apologize, but you'll still bleed if you touch it. So, as photo agencies uploaded grainy shots of suited operatives scuttling across St. James's, William and Catherine took their children to a quiet matinee in Windsor's plush Everyman cinema. George munched popcorn, Charlotte giggled at a rom-com trailer, Louis asked why Dad's phone kept vibrating. William didn't answer, instead he flicked on Do Not Disturb and settled deeper into red velvet anonymity. Strategic invisibility, that's what insiders call it. Each absence writes a hotter headline than 1,000 waving balcony photos. A meeting drenched in history. Charles's camp framed the summit as operational, not emotional, just PR teams aligning diaries ahead of a rumored autumn Commonwealth tour. But royal historians heard echoes of 2009, when secret memos about expanding William and Harry's duties leaked, birthing the Shadow King conspiracy. Back then, Palace Flax denied generational leapfrogging. Today, they deny sidelining. The constant leaks and the havoc they wreak. Even the venue dripped symbolism. The Royal Overseas League's Vernon House predates American independence. Its parquet floors once hosted mild-mannered MI6 debriefs. Choosing it guaranteed privacy, and optics of British establishment weight. But optics cut both ways. When word leaked, it looked less like family therapy and more like corporate mediation, the kind that scribbles NDAs instead of apologies. Catherine's quiet frontier. While gossip sprinted through newsrooms, Catherine continued her stealth campaign of recovery. Each dawn begins with gentle yoga, each afternoon includes an immune-boosting smoothie, and crucially each headline about family fractures is blocked on her phone by a protective staffer. She's aware, says a Middleton cousin, but she refuses to marinate. When aides suggested tackling a small public engagement before autumn, the princess reportedly smiled and quoted her oncologist, "Rest is work too." Yet Catherine's silence doesn't mean passivity. Friends say she keeps a handwritten ledger of every perceived omission or barb, dating back to that Charlotte bridesmaid dress clash. She'll forgive, notes a source, but she won't forget without substantive redress. Translation for Montecito, a staged photo op at Balmoral will not suffice. William's line in the sand. If Catherine's frontier is health, William's is principle. After Spare accused unnamed royals of racial bias, the prince broke protocol with a pavement-edge retort, "We're very much not a racist family." 8 words, 1 earthquake. Behind palace walls, staff begged him to soften. He refused. That stubborn streak now governs his approach to reconciliation. Accountability first, he insists. Private truth before public hugs. Kensington courtiers deny rumors that William issued an ultimatum: halt all memoirs, scrap the Netflix deal, then we talk. But they confirm he expects a verbal admission that certain allegations were exaggerated for profit. Harry's circle counters: if the heir wants contrition, start with his own behavior. Stalemate. Charles's ticking clock. Amid this chessboard, King Charles stands, quite literally, on chemotherapy's uncertain ground. Doctors express optimism, but fatigue stalks him like London rain. Sources say he longs for family harmony before the next round of constitutional heavy lifting, a scaled-down Commonwealth tour, military patronage reshuffles, and the public debut of Prince George as teenage future monarch. To achieve that, the king is apparently willing to risk excluding his elder son from early reconciliation talks, betting William's sense of duty will drag him in later. History offers precedent. George IV despised his father's advisers yet bowed to succession necessity. Edward VII spent decades quarreling with Victoria, then governed with aplomb. Charles perhaps hopes William will emulate dynasty over descent. But historians caution, none of those monarchs faced the 24/7 algorithmic glare of social media, where a single skipped handshake spawns 1,000 viral conspiracy threads inside an hour. The children in the crossfire. Amid strategies and leaks, 3 small spectators watch cartoon marathons in Windsor and Sussex living rooms. George, now nearly a teenager, hears whispers on school playgrounds. Charlotte absorbs tension like fog in a valley. Louis, all cheek and mischief, once asked why Uncle Harry doesn't visit anymore. Catherine reportedly replied, "Sometimes grown-ups need space to feel better." But as summer slides toward Balmoral season, those children risk starring in the next chapter. Imagine a photographer's long-lens capture of cousins reuniting, exploited for brand rehabilitation. Kensington strategists recoil at the notion. Montecito advisors see viral gold. And so the stalemate persists. The road to Balmoral. Charles craves August in the Highlands, where fireplaces crackle and family picnics once mended smaller fractures. Invitations, hand-inked on thick cream card, await. William holds his pen. Catherine waits for her latest PET scan. Harry is open if logistics align, meaning if Netflix schedules and security budgets approve. Meghan remains a question mark, wary of cold castle corridors and colder tabloid columns. If all accept, pomp may paint a postcard of unity. But history murmurs caution. 1997 saw a Balmoral gathering days before Diana's crash. 2005 hosted Charles's son's days before announcing Camilla's wedding. 2022 witnessed the Queen's final breath. Balmoral views are majestic and unforgiving. What happens next? Possibility 1. Charles enforces a blackout, no leaks, demanding lawyers draft confidentiality clauses. Trust might flicker. Possibility 2. Another drip hits headlines, perhaps Montecito's side declares progress, prompting William to retreat. Bridge burns. Possibility 3. Catherine's health charts a slower path, giving William moral shield to postpone emotional minefields. In every scenario, that private Tuesday summit will haunt the subtext, a meeting about unity that started with exclusion. For royal watchers, and you, this means tension will keep boiling. Kensington Instagram accounts may drop curated family snaps, Sussex Spotify spin-offs may hint at healing journeys. Yet the real story will unfold in silences: who stands beside whom at Remembrance Sunday, who shares pews at Windsor Christmas, who allows their children to exchange presents. Until then, William and Catherine's absence remains the loudest sound in the realm, an echo resonating from Wimbledon's cheers to Balmoral's lonely pines. Absence, in Windsor arithmetic, equals power, because sometimes the seat you refuse